Thank you. Well, let me be the first to welcome you to Keith Ellison's congressional district. Oh, come on. This is a great town. Our streets are clean, the people are nice. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, come on. Seriously, this really is a great metropolitan area. This is my home. I live in the suburbs, but I come up here occasionally when I can deal with Keith Ellison land. But, it's a great area. Even though we have ATMs here, our jobless rate is a little lower than the national average. And I know a lot of you who are not from Minnesota may be a little peeved at us because we send people to Washington like Keith Ellison, Al Franken, Amy Klobuchar. I feel the love. But hey, we also send people to Washington like Michelle Bachmann, our new representative, Chip Kravac from northern Minnesota, Eric Paulson, and my congressman. This is nice because I'm actually proud to admit who my congressman is. I know a lot of you may not have that feeling. My congressman is John Klein, and I'm proud to have him as my congressman. It's great to see so many people coming to Minnesota to attend an Americans for Prosperity RightOnline conference, because if we had to pull from, Minneapolis, it'd probably be a very small conference. I've attended all of them, and this is the 3rd time actually that I've spoken here at the General Assembly, and it is always a thrill to talk to people who are ready to engage. Even though Eric Telford keeps putting me after people like Michelle Malkin, Herman Cain a couple of years ago. Look, if Ronald Reagan was to return from the grave and speak at a RightOnline conference, you know who's going to be following him to the podium, don't you? It's a thrill to get up here and talk to people who want to engage. After the massive energy of the Tea Party activists that we've come to know at RightOnline over the years, after they succeeded in overturning a House majority and nearly doing the same in the Senate last year, people might have expected this movement to die off, or at least to take a victory lap in 2011. Instead, Americans for Prosperity RightOnline Conference has a record number of attendees. This is the biggest conference ever. And that's because people see what happens when they engage and organize and demand accountability. And it's also because we've seen what happens when we don't demand accountability, right? When we don't engage, Congress keeps spending money we don't have. When we don't engage, Beltway politicians invent new ways to tell us how to live. When we don't engage, people who have never run a business in their lives seize control of economic decisions that belong in the private sector, promise us recovery summers, and grind our economy to a halt. Not long ago, ordinary people really didn't have the ability to engage as easily on the national level. The ruling clique in Washington used distance and the media, as Michelle was just mentioning, to discourage people from getting involved unless it was on their terms. 8 years ago, I was making my living in this town as a call center manager. My only political engagement came through arguing with my family and friends about politics, and by the way, that's a great strategy if you want to eat lunch all by yourself. I have no degree from a journalism school. I had no options for publishing my opinions. I had no influence at all on politics except at maybe at the most basic level of all, which is voting. And that, as you all know, consisted of choosing between candidates that were selected by the establishment in both parties that had long ignored the voice of the people. The internet changed all that. Over the last 8 years, I was able to turn a small site in the blogosphere into a completely new career as a writer and a radio host, with a lot of help along the way from a lot of friends, including my friend Michelle Malkin and Hugh Hewitt. Instead of accepting the axiom that you can't fight City Hall, I decided to engage. And now I can influence politics and help advance conservative policies from my home here in Minnesota, over 1,000 miles away from Washington. I think about that every day. Each day, I remember just how truly blessed I am to be able to do this from this far outpost from the halls of power, Now, my wife, of course, may not feel quite so blessed because I'm underfoot all day long in the house now. That's not true. She's backstage, and now I'm in big trouble, so you can protect me when I go back there. Now, she understands, and she really appreciates the same blessings of liberty that I understand and I appreciate. And most of all, I appreciate the fact that people like you are reading the sites and are engaging because of what we write or what we say on the radio. You are the ones that are making this happen. And this is the beauty and the burden in the times in which we live. It's easier than ever to engage. And it's more important than ever that you do engage. The very notions of freedom and liberty really are at stake. We have politicians who want to dictate what you eat, take what you produce, and bankrupt entire industries in order to seize control of decisions about healthcare, transportation, and energy production. They want to redefine liberty from a natural right to a government gift, rationed as they see fit. Is that your idea of liberty? No. Do you believe that individuals can make their own decisions better than bureaucrats thousands of miles away? Is it time to elect a government that listens to constituents and abides by the Constitution, gets out of the business of picking winners and losers in the private market, and stops piling debt on our children and grandchildren? What are you prepared to do about that? Are you prepared to make that happen? Are you prepared to engage and help change the world? Because this is the time, and now is this is the place, and now is the time to do so. And that's the reason why we're all here. That's the reason why we have all these great breakout sessions to try to help organize people, to try to help you network. And this is the moment. This really is the moment. People think we are done, that the midterms are over, and the Tea Party is gone, and grassroots activism on the right has been satisfied. Is that the case? No. Well, then let's get out there and do that. Let's make 2012 a much bigger election than 2010. Thank you very much for your time.